I'm also taking responses via facebook.com/NigeriaInfoPH. We're streaming live there. Reading your comments and contributions from there on as well. Also via Twitter at NigeriaInfoPH. We are streaming live on Twitter as well. I'm also taking your comments and contributions via Twitter also. You can also catch up on various shows and discussions on YouTube. Just search for NigeriaInfoPH on YouTube as well. Go to our page. Remember as well to like and follow these pages as appropriate. I think you have to follow on Twitter, like on Facebook. I think you can like our YouTube page as well. All right, so once again, your assessment. What's your assessment of how the federal government has handled this situation? The terrorists made demands. No doubt the federal government made demands as well. The terrorists got all that they demanded. And maybe I should go back to the story to look at what exactly it is the terrorists asked for. Shehu told BBC Hausa the government met the demand of the terrorists, which includes the release of their wives. So they had wives who were incarcerated. Those wives were released. The children as well from custody. So they had wives and children in custody. And as a matter of fact, one of the wife of one of the leaders of the terror gang recently gave birth to a set of twins at a health facility. And so they got their wives back, they got their children back, they got their newborn babies back as well. But the federal government did not get anything in return. Nothing. According to Garba Shehu, the terrorists failed to meet their own side of the deal. In fact, they reneged in releasing the train passengers. Your assessment of the government's performance or handling of this situation, I'd like to hear it now. Once again, call 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003 or 0007. Via Twitter at Bruno and Bruno Twitter. Pardon me. Okay, no, not for this conversation. Let's see. All right, we'll get back to Twitter in a moment. Remember, it's at NigeriaInfoPH, at NigeriaInfoPH, Facebook.com/NigeriaInfoPH as well. Hello, Hadfak, welcome.
Hello?
Hi, go ahead.
Hello?
Hadfak, you're welcome. You're live on radio. Hello? Please go on. Once again, numbers to call 0817-923-0002 or 0817-923-0003 or 0007. Facebook.com/NigeriaInfoPH, also via Twitter at NigeriaInfoPH. Well, I've got some comments over here. Yes, good evening, Dar. It's only here in this country that you will have so many stories that don't add up. It's most unfortunate indeed. Take back a country now. That's from Umar. All right. Good evening, Dar. This is to show how helpless and demoralized our security agencies are, and we are paying them for doing nothing. I feel cold by this news. That's Bright from Port Harcourt. Maybe our security agents do feel demoralized, but I'm not sure we're paying them for doing nothing. Bright, a lot of our security agents are separated from their families. They are in war-torn areas right now. They're in the battlefront. Many of them have lost their lives, by the way. So we're not paying them for doing nothing. They do quite a lot. They could do more if the circumstances were better, but they obviously definitely are not doing nothing. Stanley from GRA, you're welcome. Go on.
Yeah, good evening.
Go ahead.
Once again, the Nigerian government has shown to the whole world that they are lacking. It's so disheartening hearing these things. And it keeps coming every single day. Just hear one bizarre statement, one bizarre news, after the other. It pains my heart. I mean, you delivered those in your custody, their children, their wives, and everything. You didn't even have a plan B. No plan, nothing. That you're given the.
Hello, Stanley. Stanley, are you there? Oh, I seem to have lost the connection with Stanley. Stanley, do call back if you can. Numbers again, 0817 923 0002, 0817 923 0003 or 0007. What's your assessment of how the government has handled this situation? The terrorists made demands, we want our wives back, we want our children back, and even newborn babies as well. And they got them back. According to Garba, well, the agreement was you get your wives and your children and your babies back, and we get the people you had kidnapped from the train. So wives, babies, and children given back, but the federal government did not get hostages in return. What's your assessment of how the government handled this situation? Timmy from Rumokoro, you're welcome. Please go on.
Hello, Dayo.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, this is very disturbing to me because I remember a report from CNN about an American prisoner and a Russian prisoner. The Americans held the Russian. The Russians held the American. Now there was a swap, a prison swap. They chose a neutral country, which was Turkey. They even videoed it where the American plane landed, brought down the Russian prisoner. The Russian plane landed, brought down the American prisoner, and there was a swap between both prisoners, and they all went back to their countries. That was videoed. It is so disturbing that the Nigerian government had an arrangement with the terrorists to release their families, and they had no arrangement to ensure that, okay, you bring the hostages, and then we will give you your families. There was no arrangement to ensure that followed through. It's very disturbing. It's very, very disturbing.
Yeah, maybe things just went wrong. I mean, this things go wrong sometimes. Don't you think?
No, I don't think so. Even at that, okay, you have an arrangement with somebody to get this deal done. The hostages will be released for your families, okay? What was the contingency plan that if this goes wrong, this is what we are going to do? It means they didn't even have an afterthought or an after plan to ensure that the terrorists keep to the bargain of the exchange. So it's very disturbing. It's very disturbing. It shows the ineptitude of the government.
All right, Tibe. How about you? What do you make of this development? Let's get your contributions via Twitter at NigeriaInfoPH, also via Facebook.com/NigeriaInfoPH, via Facebook. Justice goes, FG is making kidnapping to be a lucrative business. Nigerians should get this understanding. The US does not negotiate with terrorists in their own country. They negotiate with terrorists in another country to hold their citizens on a peacekeeping mission where they're fighting terrorism. Okay, all right. Let's see. I'm not sure I follow this. I'm not sure I'm able to follow this line of thought though. But back to the phone lines. I've got Stanley from GRA. Hi, go ahead.
Yeah, Dayo, I have to call back.
Well, I think we spoke earlier, didn't we?
Well, the last caller just said it all. Really, that's just the same thing I'm about to say. It's troubling. It's disheartening. It just puts fears in the hearts of Nigerians that you have a government that can't take care of the people. They have no plans. They are clueless. I don't know the kind of people out there. They are answering Nigerian government officials. I don't know. Who are these people? What are they doing out there? Our future, our destiny is in their hands. We have donated the power to them.
Hello? Hello? All right, Dara, you can see how incompetent this government is. No good plans in place to be sure the train abducted persons are safe and are in a safe place and being to be swapped for the terrorist family. This is the Nigerian government for you. Sony said that. The entire handling of the train abduction saga is riddled with complicity and floppiness. Imagine the boldness of the terrorists. They got entirely what they wanted. You can't negotiate with terrorists. You take the war to the hideout and smoke them out. A terrorist makes sheer a caricature and mockery of the federal government of Nigeria under a supposedly retired army general. Quite unfortunate and pathetic. What's your take on this? Let's get your take as well. We've got headlines at 5:30 p.m. though, but still got some time to go before then. Good evening. Tam to Solomon goes, when you were reading the news, I was like, what's the name of the movie? Terrorists getting their wives and children, even to the extent of giving birth in government facility, and yet they refuse to release those they kidnapped. This must actually be a movie. Well, it's not a movie actually. Well, maybe it might make for a movie, for an averagely good movie, but this no doubt is no movie. This did happen, as a matter of fact. I've got Blessing from Aquara Link Road on the line. Blessing, hi there, go ahead.
Good evening, Daya.
Hello, go on.
Concerning the security challenges in Nigeria, I think the government has a lot to do because, for example, in the U.S., when a terrorist, Lina Myers, was terrorizing U.S., and he held Jack Bauer in hostage in exchange for her release, they surveyed out security measures to come and to ensure that Jack Bauer returns safely.
Hello, just a moment, Blessing. Did you just say Jack Bauer?
Yes, please.
So you're not referring to a real life incident. You're referring to something. You're referring to a TV series.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I just needed to point that out because Blessing said in the U.S. and the next thing I heard was Jack Bauer. She said, when you say in the U.S., when you start the statement by saying in the U.S., especially in this context, what it suggests strongly is you're about to recount or relate an event that actually took place in the U.S. So if you want to use an example of a movie or a TV series, just simply say, in a TV series I saw, in this case, I think the TV series was called 24, I think, yeah, starring Kiefer Sutherland as Jack Bauer, or in a movie I saw. I don't think it in the US is appropriate in this scenario. Anyways, got a commercial break coming up. Headlines 5:30 p.m. Discussions continue after. Please stay tuned.
NigeriaInfo. Right back after this.
No panicking, no panicking.
back to Nigeria Info here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dio. Train attack. How terrorists fooled Buhari's government, according to Garba, the president's media aide spoke to BBC Hausa and said the government met the demands of the terrorists, talking about those who abducted scores of hostages on the Abuja-Kaduna bound train. He said that the government met the demands of the terrorists, which included the release of their wives and children from custody, but the terrorists failed to meet their own side of the deal. She said one of those released was the wife of one of the leaders of the terror gang, who recently gave birth to a set of twins at a health facility. Government released 7 children of the members of the current gangs as demanded, but they reneged on releasing the train passengers. So, what's your assessment of the government handling of this situation? Join the conversation via Twitter and Facebook at NigeriaInfoPH on Twitter, facebook.com/NigeriaInfoPH as well. Via Facebook, Ngozi Benjamin Namdi goes, why would the government go after their families instead of the main terrorist? Is it that the government is playing games? Do they want to tell us that they don't know where these persons are negotiating from? Call the lines as well. The numbers, my lines are open on 0817 93 0002, 0817 93 0003 or 0007. Via Facebook, Sonny Esu goes, such things cannot happen in a movie. This is a big joke. Everybody Madi goes, the government has done what it ought to do. The terrorists are criminals. They are not trustworthy and they have the government under pressure. They have the conditions to give, and should the government go into demands on them, they'd go into blackmail, and even Udaya will come out to call out government. A terrorist made a video of themselves flogging the hostages 3 weeks ago. Everyone began calling and blaming the government, not to talk of when they'll kill one of them. So the government is handling the government's handling of the issue is in order. Everbright Amadi, I appreciate your position on the matter, but do not pretend or claim to know what I will say or what I will do or what my response or reaction to an incident, whatever that incident is, might be. I've got Ifeanyi from Rumigbo on the line. You're welcome. Please go on. Ifeanyi from Rumigbo, go ahead, please. Ifeanyi, for the last time, please go ahead. Moving on, I've got Osara from Igbelo on the line. You're welcome. Please go on.
Hello, good evening.
Go ahead.
I personally do not trust Nigerian government. So if there is a turn back on the plan, I don't also trust what the government is telling us, because there have been several agreements, even with ASU and Labour and so on, and they agree as genuine government. At the time of implementation, they will do what they feel like doing. And that's why most of these problems keep lingering. So we don't have a government that can be trusted in the first place. So whatever is happening, the government has the power to stop and to, correct the situation. But they have refused to do it because of their personal politics. So the government should not be telling us anything again. They should swing into action and get these things fixed and done. Nigerians have lost trust. Personally, I have lost trust in the government because they are not keeping to their word. It's only when people come out with force and try to push things that things work in this country. It's just because ASU and people are just calm. That's why this country and their demands have not been met. So the government is not to be trusted with whatever they come up to say about security. Even they even try to stop reports of all these insurgencies and things happening.
So, sir, if you don't trust what government is saying, how do you know what's happening then?
How do I know what's happening?
Nobody else could have told you. Nobody else could have told you what government has done about this except government.
The news will still come out. It's just a matter of time. Whatever happens, the news will come up. We'll hear it now.
Sarah, good to hear from you. Ifeanyi, you're welcome as well. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Ifeanyi, please go ahead. All right. That's a typical example of how bad and incompetent this PNP government has been. Poor in dealing with terrorists, poor in economy, poor in security, poor in everything. Don't the government know that the swapping should have been done simultaneously? I can't wait for this epileptic government to go away by 2023. And that's from Uche. How about you? What's your take on this development? Got a commercial break coming up shortly, but let's get your take still. Still got some time to go before then. All right. Good evening, Di. Please, I want to know if the security officials planted a bug, that micro-tracking chips to the body of the family members of the terrorists before allowing them to go. How would I know that? Why would you think I would know that? And if the government did that, will they announce that? Would that make that public? Maybe in the aftermath of some successful mission and the kidnapped train passengers are released. Maybe some years down the line, when the information is declassified, then you might hear that, okay, maybe they were bugged or something like that. But there's been no such word from the government or any of its representatives. Felix from Illinois, you're welcome as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, Dayo.
Go on, please.
Dayo, if I have an agreement with you, for example, there ought to be a penalty kept aside for anyone that reneges on that agreement. Now, I decide to renege on that agreement if I know fully well that if I go ahead to renege on it, there is nothing you can do me. You cannot be able to execute that punishment that was kept aside on me. If I know that you are completely inept to execute any form of punitive measure against if I renege on it, that is when I will go ahead and do it. So for the terrorists to go ahead and renege on the agreement that they have with the federal government is an indication that they know that this government is inept. And of course, the government that have allowed hostages, allowed their citizens to remain hostage in the hands of terrorists since March till date. How can you refer to that government, such government, a government that can be competent enough to fight them? So I am not surprised that the terrorists play smart on them because they knew right that they cannot be able to do anything. They cannot fight them. So this clear goes ahead to tell us the kind of government that we have in place. A government that is completely inept and helpless before terrorists. So Nigeria should stand up and take their destiny by their hand by going out to vote for the right candidate. But
Felix, can you hear me, Felix? All right, Felix, good to hear from you. But you also have to listen, by the way. While it's great to know you're listening and join the conversation, you also have to listen. But I was going to say to Felix, maybe completely inept, helpless. I don't know if that suitably, I don't know. I mean, Felix, of course, has the right to hold that view, but I don't know if that completely describes, the government's handling of the war on terror generally. Because yes, maybe there has been a show of ineptness in certain situations, but we've also got reports of, the government apprehending some terror members, so members of some of the terror groups. We've heard of assault on terror camps. After all, when we get reports that our members of our armed forces, our soldiers die, I don't think they died because of food poisoning. They died in the theater of war. They died because they were fighting people, the terrorists, I suppose. And they do win some of the battle, most certainly, I suppose, as well. But I suppose I may appreciate where Felix is coming from and his thoughts on the matter, because no doubt maybe some ineptness has been shown. Even the president himself has expressed surprise at some of the recent happenings. For example, what happened at the prison, the latest prison break situation we had. The president visited, and even he was stunned and had to ask questions. How could this have happened? What happened to the intelligence? What happened to security at the prison? What happened to the CCTV? What happened to the cameras? What happened? And by the way, it's been some time since the incident. Do those prison facilities have cameras now? Do they have cameras now? So if somebody decides to break into that prison again, are there cameras now? Are the towers being manned now? The security beefed up now? Are there cameras now? Because I think somebody was talking about cameras the other time. Some government official or the other. Are the cameras there now? I think the Speaker of the House of Reps was talking about cameras also. So do they have cameras now? Because it doesn't take long, it doesn't take a full year or a financial cycle to install cameras. You can buy cameras today and have them installed today. So, anyways, we do have a commercial break coming up in a moment, and a reminder as well, the major news comes up top of the hour at 6 p.m. Discussions continue after that. A review of every matter discussed on the show today comes up during the open season segment. If you'd like to comment on my side comment from earlier on today, usually those comments are not up for discussion at that time. I'll take your thoughts during the open season after the 6 p.m. major news. Also, your thoughts on my rant today or any of these other discussions we've had thus far. The situation with the APC in Akwa Ibom and Yobe, INEC saying they have no candidates in 2 senatorial district elections coming up next year. Also, this current matter of how the federal government has handled, the situation of the kidnappings of train passengers. Anyways, more on that later on. Stick around. Still have to find to Nigeria Info here in Port Harcourt. Be right back in a bit.